Good morning, everyone. Matt Webb. I'm Chief Information Officer at UK Power Networks. Really pleased to be here today speaking to you all.
Hi, I'm Frank, co-founder of Opendatasoft and Chief Sales Officer. So today we're going to have a quick overview of data products, data marketplace. But first, like the salesy moment, I'll go fast on this. Our motto is data consumption. It's been more than 14 years. We are doing data democratization for many customers in 25 countries. Of course, the energy sector, bank, government. So we are pleased to have helped more than 3,000 data marketplaces over the world to be launched. UK Power Networks.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know UK Power Networks, we are a regulated monopoly. We own and operate the electrical infrastructure, distributing electrical infrastructure across London and the southeast of England. In general terms, we account for about a third of the customers, a third of the generation, and supply demand as per the stats on the screen there. So, yep, that is what we do.
So today, and speed up the conversation, two main topics. So one from data cows to data products, and then Matt will take the lead on UK Power Network journey on data democratization. So from data cows to data products. So first, let's start by a great data paradox. So everyone knows you as organizations, you have tons of data. So tons of data, sometimes siloed data. Over the years, you made different types of investments. So first, you need to store data on the cloud. So you took either the blue pill, the red pill, so Snowflake, Databricks, depending, but works also for Fabric and GCP and others. Then you were using BI, visualization, Power BI, and the others. And there was this rise of data catalog, data governance project where you selected the best of the best data catalogs. And yet, your business users are still not really served. So maybe with those very powerful tools, you serve 20%, 30% of experts, data scientists, data stewards. But according to IDC, 68% of your data is unavailable, and more of this, business users cannot really access this data. So what if your data could work for business users and not just experts? A few interesting things. So of course, increasing productivity, better decision making, and maybe a good one also is the ROI. If we come back to the investment on catalogs, on storage, a good way to drive ROI is to have adoption. So what if your business users could really use Snowflake tables without knowing Snowflake? What if your business users could really understand what's inside the data catalog, and so forth and so on? So to do that, there is a kind of new concept called data product. So it's not that new, but depending on who you are, a data product could be either a Power BI dashboard. That's a good start. But I would like to use the Gartner definition of a data product. So data product is really a way to build, I would say, the most valuable data used by many, many users. So it should scale, meaning that it should target hundreds or thousands of users, and ideally regular users. Users come in daily, weekly to consume this product. Second, should have business value, of course, and ideally, this data product should have been built with business teams. Scalable, a good example of a data product is like a customer 360, and to do a customer 360, you need data from your CRM, you need data stored everywhere. So, and having updates like every 2 hours, every hours makes sense. So a data product should be something with high frequency to be updated and to be consumed. Maybe the two last points, reliable. As a business user, you want to be sure that the data you are using makes sense, you can trust it. So depending on your SLAs, but you want to be sure that the latest data you're using is fine. Sometimes integrated with a data contract, so something that enforces the trust you have onto the product. And last one, you should have different ways to consume these data products. It's called output port. So a data product enables data to be consumed, not metadata only. So of course, metadata, active metadata are key, But it's also a way to consume data, and depending on the personas you're targeting, maybe it's an API endpoint, maybe it's a download, maybe it's a visualization. So it's a combination of everything. So our DNA is to help serving business users. And the way we do it is, so the product we are pushing is what we call a data product marketplace. So that's the e-shopping, the data shopping experience, serving two types of customers and two types of personas, humans and AI. So humans, because as a human, you like to shop for data like the one, like you do for Amazon.com, like Airbnb. You like to find your data products like this and as easy as you do it in your personal life. AI, because everyone talks about AI agent, but to have AI agent and to be able to find their way into your data, you should provide AI-ready data. So that's what the data marketplace is made for. And maybe the last one before we move to Matt. So among the priorities for CIOs, CDOs that have chosen to deploy data marketplaces, you have different flavors or different use cases. One, of course, the key one is how can I empower my business teams through different use case, breaking silos. Some of the use cases are how can I aggregate external data, so the data I'm buying or the free data to give this to my business teams. Data governance and how can I govern data product is also a key thing. So how can I launch a V1 of the data product, being sure that there is usage, launching a V2, a V3, that makes sense. Accelerate AI ready, we mentioned it. Sometimes monetizing data assets. So some of our customers are either doing chargeback, so they want their departments to use the data, but they also want to do the chargeback because it costs to do governance to store data. And sometimes some of our customers are also really monetizing their assets and their data product. And to finalize, and a good transition with UK Power Networks, sometimes you are a regulated industry, sometimes you need to be transparent with different stakeholders, and you need to share your data product outside of your system. So it could be called open data, transparency, and that's exactly what UK Power Networks has done. Matt?
Thank you. So for UK Power Networks, our open data journey started circa 4 years ago. The key driver for us was regulatory. So we are a monopoly. If people want electricity to their business or household, they need to come to us effectively. And our regulator mandated that we needed to increase the publication and sharing of data. Now, the reality is we'd already shared data in various ways and forms, but we needed to advance and accelerate it and make it more sophisticated. So UK Power Networks is part of the energy ecosystem. We do not generate huge amounts of CO2 and therefore directly contribute to carbonisation, but what we have to do is contribute to decarbonisation. And the role for us is to act as an enabler. We cannot be a blocker to the connection of low carbon technologies, so wind farms, solar farms, electrification of vehicles, and so on. So if we had a developer come to us, for instance, and say, we want to build a wind farm at this location, we say, sorry, we haven't got any network there, or we don't have capacity, clearly that's a problem, and that's us getting in the way of net zero. So that was the key driver for us. Hopefully the demo works. While Frank's flicking around, I'll keep talking. So our open data portal, we launched 4 years ago, as I mentioned. It was a change of philosophy, let's say that. So for any business, including UK Power Networks, there's always that propensity to not share because there's a perceived risk. We recognized very quickly that that risk was false to a certain extent. We already published data in what was largely an uncontrolled manner. It was already out there, but it was done by discrete parts of the business, completely independently, lack of governance, lack of oversight, and so on. So all we did was brought in a platform to centralize and facilitate that and to set it up in a far better way. So some of the benefits you can see on here that we achieve through doing that is increased transparency, stakeholder and customer engagement, much, much faster access to quality, controlled, reliable data. For our point of view, internally, it resulted in more efficient operations, i.e. you didn't have this federation of lots of people churning data, pushing it out in an inefficient and uncontrolled manner. But most importantly, when it comes to our customers wanting to connect to our network, we provide them the solution and the services to go and self-serve. And that's where there's been an evolution in what we've been doing with the Open Data Portal, from a platform just to share flat files and data sets and consume via APIs, to this productization that Frank was talking about. And that scalability has been key to that success. In terms of some of the metrics, just to give you an idea of the size of what we're dealing with, 120 plus data sets, if you want to look at things in their flat form. 170,000 downloads in the period since October 21 when we launched, 7 million API calls, and a very large and growing consumer base, 14,000 registered users. So, you know, it's a very popular and very important tool to facilitate enablement of our stakeholders and customers.
So on this one, we are supposed to see a demo.
Fingers crossed.
No,
not happened. Okay, with the demo. So at the end of the day, it's an open data portal. So after the session, if you want to go and explore our open data portal, go and play. What would have been magically on the screen at this point is effectively an overview of 2 of the data products we've developed. Now, those products are a geospatial visualization primarily of our network, split between what we call supply areas. So we have substations at various levels of our network that supply a geographical footprint. And the primary view gives a RAG status of the ability to connect. So is there headroom, is there capacity to connect at that location, both now and in the future, based on planned interventions, investment, and increasing capacity becoming available. So there's a very intuitive user interface which customers can access to self-serve. So if you want to build a wind farm, a solar farm, they don't have to come to us, put in a detailed inquiry that we then are obliged to respond to, putting together the engineering assessments and potentially costings that may never go anywhere. They can do that directly, very expediently, without putting any burden on us, and everyone's a winner, basically. And beyond that, there's then a second corresponding set of services, which is through a different product. We love an acronym in our business, even when they're terrible. One's called the new map, one's called the nod. So one is about the infrastructure utilization, which I was talking about. That is more substation specific. So if you are an engineer, you can drill in and see the specific characteristics, utilization, demand curves, and so on for that site. So you can start to do your own engineering studies in depth to not just understand in the first instance, can I connect, but also what's the full capacity potential utilization so that you can do the feasibility as quickly as possible without even having to rely on us in a direct sense.
Yeah, maybe if I can add, so you were supposed to see the data product in action, so it's still feasible when we'll have a Wi-Fi and some things working. What's interesting and linked to the data product definition is what UK Power Networks has built is really a combination of different data sets, different topics. Some of them are updated daily. That makes these data products really compelling. So you have, let's say, just 2 data products, but at scale, used by thousands of users that you cannot count. You don't know them. So that's something we can show you just after the session.
Yeah, absolutely. And crucially, the products integrate multiple data sets, circa 20 data sets, I think underpins the nod. So you have the ability to go via a intuitive, simple user interface that you can configure and manipulate and navigate through independently. But equally, if you want the detailed data that sits behind that, whether it's in a tabular format, to run an analysis, to ingest via an API, which is itself highly configurable, you can do so. It's not just a case of providing a visual and an application. In terms of our experience in navigating through, first of all, introducing the platform, our approach to open data, risk assessment, governance, and so on, we learned a lot quite quickly. So first of all, the risk piece. Yes, there is always risk in sharing, publishing data, no secret. Ofgem, our regulator, introduced the principle of presumed open, and that's one we embraced, and that's trying to move us from the mentality of why would we share to why wouldn't we? And we've put in place what we call our triage process, which effectively looks at a data set and considers why wouldn't we share it? What are the key constraints, limitations, risks that exist that we need to overcome? And even if there's a risk identified, it isn't then a binary black or white yes or no. We consider what mitigations, what interventions can we apply to reduce that risk, control that risk. So for instance, good old GDPR, everyone's favorite subject, introduces very firm red lines that we cannot cross. But what we can do with the data set is redact it. we can anonymize, we can consolidate. There's all these different things that we can do quite simply to allow us to publish still useful, usable, insightful data. And as I said before, in reality, by introducing the portal, we actually reduced our risk profile because we started to put controls in place where there wasn't controls before. In terms of the stakeholders, we didn't want to just blindly push data out there. This isn't a volume game. We've got 120 data sets on there at present, as I said. It's a huge amount of information. The question is it useful and who is it useful to? So we had a significant effort and focus on engaging with our customers and stakeholders. One, to obviously promote and share what we have available in the first instance. Two, to understand their wants, needs, and aspirations with data and their potential use cases, but also to sometimes be a little bit more speculative. And that was really, really key in the production and development of our data products. So the two use cases that I touched upon evolved out of engagement in particular with generation companies, with independent connection providers, with local authorities who effectively are the people that are putting the data to work, driving those decisions. We have a good sense and understanding of what they want and need, but we didn't want to assume. So there was this continual evolution, development, and expansion of those services to meet those varying needs. The complexity piece is important. It's a challenge to put data out there that is user-friendly for everybody. Again, through that engagement that we did, we needed to understand the full spectrum of our users, to large organizations like ourselves that have an inherent capability with respect to data engineering, analysis, and insight, to SMEs that probably struggle to use an Excel spreadsheet. So that's where the platform is very, very powerful and useful in terms of giving that configurable, simplified, intuitive user interface to navigate data in a way that you don't need to have a data degree into achieve, but equally with the services and products to allow you to do the in-depth analysis within the platform, but also ingest directly into your own services. And then finally, lots of great data, but hard to find what you need. For me, that's the whole premise of a product. We could leave it as a list, if you like, a catalog of 120 data sets and say, go and play. The ability to understand what that data is, its appropriate use, all the complexities of it, we could just leave to the user. The idea of the product is you package it up, you make it readily usable, you make it insightful to meet the needs of the customer. And that's what we have done very, very successfully, not just in the case of the two use cases, but across the whole platform. So in terms of what's coming, what has arrived in some instances, AI has to be mentioned. We couldn't possibly have a talk without speaking about AI. But ultimately, we all know and recognize that AI is dependent on good data. It's an absolute given. So by having our data published on a platform that's highly curated, that is shaped and defined as corresponding metadata to ensure and inform appropriate use, it helps us to ensure that any AI-enabled utilization at the back of it is reliable. So within the platform, there is now AI-enabled search. So you can see at the top there, you enter a prompt, and it helps you navigate the rich data sets that we have without having to go on this voyage of discovery and just rummage around. Second, AI automated insights. So in a similar way, you can basically ask a question, give a prompt to provide a visual and analytics. And then finally, which is at the end of the development phase now and about to go live, is the ability to connect our data to external services. So for instance, agentic AI needs to be plugged in to that reliable rich data source. That is exactly what's being facilitated here. And I think we're coming towards the end. So benefits of the portal. The decarbonisation piece I mentioned. It's not just critical to UK power networks, it's critical to every single one of us. So we absolutely know and recognise the role we have to play in decarbonisation. And that's what the Open Data Portal is principally about for us. Second, it's about having that certainty that we are providing accurate, reliable data to a whole ecosystem and of end users and customers. Mentions academia there. Yes, that's one of the users, but the fact is we cannot be pushing data out there that is misinforming future investments, planning, research, whatever it may be. So we actually have that control and that confidence now. We have received great recognition for the role that we've played in being at the forefront of this activity. So there's that reputational benefit, of course. And then the final element here, our approach to risk management and our choice of data platform. We wanted to move quickly. Opendatasoft was an established platform. We quickly formed a very positive relationship and we successfully put it to work very, very quickly. Within the first week of launching the platform with those data sets that were already in the public domain, we were receiving feedback from consumers saying, we accessed the API, plugged it into our own services, and now we can do X, Y, and Z. And you can go onto the platform and see those reuse cases actually publicized. So it's a very powerful tool to do good things very quickly. We ourselves took the principle that in delivering open data, we would be very open with our experiences, with our learnings, and hence I'm here talking like this. We have engaged internationally on the subject of open data, both to learn ourselves, but also to contribute and share. So the Data Society for, just my words out, Data for Societal Good, easy to say, was established by Microsoft over in the US and engaged with a number of companies like ourselves to basically collaborate and share our experiences in sharing open data, with productization of data being at the core. And we're really proud of the fact that we have had that role to play and that we've been able to deliver huge benefits to a very, very big user base.
Yeah, maybe the last slide with a few takeaways. So data product is, I think, something that is here to stay. So, but you should bring value to the business and adoption. So key is adoptions. Many users coming every day, every week consume the data products. As the data product marketplace, that's the shell to consume. That's the control panel for your data product and to have the feedback and the usage of your business users. Data and AI, as you understood, now we need to feed humans and AI. So we should be all AI ready, and the data product marketplace is a good way to use your AI agent and to talk to your data. And maybe the last one, so thanks, Matt. I think UKPN was a real pioneer in the data democratization, and you were, I mean, the first, and then thanks to you, we signed many others of your...
Still waiting my commission.
Yeah, of course, of your colleagues. So that's great. And in terms of potential next steps, of course, when you are, as an organization, able to feed external stakeholders into data products, self-service data sets, you have exactly the same need internally, because your users, they say, okay, I'm interested into this, but the way I'm consuming the data is I'm going on the public-facing portal, consuming this, so I need this experience internally. So one of the next steps could be having this kind of experience internally. So let's see what could be the next steps. So it's time for Q&A. I think we have 1 minute. Sorry for the logistics, but you can come back to our booth. So it's J78 to have the real demo of UKPN data products. Thank you.